Hey everybody, my name is Esther Lucero. I am Diné on my mom's side and I'm Latina on my dad's side. And I have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO for the Seattle Indian Health Board. I am talking with you today because I just want to let you know who the Seattle Indian Health Board is, what we do. So the Seattle Indian Health Board is comprised of several components. We're probably best known for the health and human services that we provide. That's an array of health and human services from primary care, behavioral health, dental, substance use disorder services. And on the human services side, we do nutrition, WIC, homeless case management, and we do gender-based violence work and that type of work. That's our clinical services. And we have actually created the very first of its kind, our Indigenous knowledge-informed systems of care, meaning that we provide all of those services in parity, and we center ourselves on traditional Indian medicine. We are very proud of this effort and the fact that we are doing this in a way that is really culturally respectful and is serving the people that recognize that culture is prevention, and strengthening our cultural identities is one of the ways that we are actually going to heal as a community. Additionally, we operate the Urban Indian Health Institute, which is one of 12 tribal epidemiology centers in the nation, and the only one that has a national scope because we serve all of the urban programs across the country. We've been very proud of the work that we've produced out of there regarding data and missing and murdered Indigenous women, the only COVID report for American Indians, Alaska Natives. We've had some incredible, innovative, dynamic work come out of that team. We also support a really robust workforce development program. Our family medicine residency program is one of the best. And out of the 6 residents we have, I believe 5 of them are actually American Indian, Alaska Native, and it's a testament to our commitment to building the next Native health workforce. We've also been really connected to policy and advocacy. This is part of our legacy. We were the first urban Indian health program to provide congressional testimony, and it's something that we continue to do to this day. Additionally, we have expanded our policy work from just the federal level to the state level, and now working with city and county governments, and even sometimes community governing boards. All of this together is what makes the Seattle Indian Health Board so effective for our community. We have a couple of new sites opening up in the next year. We'll be opening a new site at Lake City in North Seattle. We're doing this in partnership with Hopeline, which is a food bank, actually, and they have a desperate need for health services, and many of our Native families have actually been relocated north. And so we're excited to be opening that clinic site in January. Additionally, we'll be opening a clinic site in Pioneer Square. We're doing this in partnership with our community partners, Chief Seattle Club, which is a homeless day shelter for American Indians, Alaska Natives, and we'll be opening a 3,000 square foot clinic there, offering the same services that we provide in our international district right now. So all of these things, and for all of these reasons, we are asking you to make a commitment to us as an organization in supporting our communities. Every single thing we do here is dedicated to the love of Native people. And as the first people of this land, we recognize that by honoring that history, legacy, and current state, that our allied communities can actually help advance our goals toward becoming a healthy community. And so we are asking you to offer donations. And this week, we actually get to celebrate Indigenous people, and we celebrate them through Indigenous Peoples Festival. We are the core organizing body for Indigenous Peoples Festival. This is something that we do every year. We typically do it in person at the Seattle Center in June, but due to the COVID environment, this will be the second year that we're actually hosting a virtual experience. And I have to tell you, what I love about the virtual experience is that we get to share this broadly. We get to reach communities all around the globe and really share our cultural experiences, both our traditional ways of being and knowing and our current contemporary ways of being and knowing. We are offering an array of performances and panels and discussions that are sure to enrich your understanding and commitment to American Indian and Alaska Native people. So it is my privilege and joy to honor our performers, our contributors, and to provide a platform for the Seattle Indian Health Board to highlight our quality services. And with that, I just really appreciate you taking the time to join us.
No hidara kiriwaiture sukstapa hitu tatasa dakatsu dewaki. Hello, everybody. My name is Howie Echo-Hawk. I am a producer and a comedian, ostensibly. Producer of this event. I use they, them pronouns. It's good to be back here for day 2. I have different makeup on now, and you can expect that every day, a different makeup reveal. Maybe one day I won't wear makeup. Who knows? These are the kinds of things you come to this event for. Anyway, thank you so much for coming back for day 2. Yesterday we had our performance. It was a lovely, lovely time, and we had so many people in the chat interacting, and so we still want you to do that today. Please comment what tribe you are, where you're from, where you're watching from, and we're definitely looking forward to having more relatives online with us today. Please share this event right now. Go and click that little share button and put it out so other people can see these amazing panelists we have today. So today we have 2 panels. Our first panel is Black Natives in Discussion. I See You, Black Natives in Discussion. It's going to be hosted by Amber Melanin Muscogee. Most people probably know her better as Amber Starks. But before we do that, I want to have a couple of things. After this panel, we're going to have a special premiere of Quileute drag queen Hailey Tayathy's first music video. So please stay tuned. That'll be in the break between this and the next panel. And the next panel is Indian TV time with Jana Schmieding from Rutherford Falls and me talking to Jana. So please stick around. Other than that, please stay tuned also for tomorrow. I'll be telling you a little bit about that, what's going on tomorrow after the break. And just get ready for a fun event. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring up our panelists right now. Please welcome your host, Amber Starks, the Melanin Muscogee, Paige Pettibon, and Deante Moore. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
It's lovely to see you all and meet you all. I said it earlier when we just met, but Deante and I are wearing very similar outfits. So I just want to put that out there in the world. But I'm going to let you guys go ahead and take it over. I'm really excited for your discussion.
Okay. Hesche everyone, Estongo, Amber Chehilchepkados, Muskogo Gidoes, Leshto Gidoes, Amalegida, Loja Gogi, Momen Amadowa, Loja Poga. Hi everyone, my name is Amber, and as Howie said, aka Melanin Muskogee, some of you may know me as. I am a citizen of the Muscogee Creek Nation. My tribal town is Loja Poga, or the place where turtles dwell. And my clan is the Turtle Clan. I am also a Shawnee, Yuchi, Quapaw, and Cherokee Descent. And I like to give those ancestors a shout out too. And I'm very much a proud Black woman of African American heritage. But before I begin, I want to recognize and acknowledge that I'm currently on Kalapuya land, also known as Portland, Oregon. So I want to give a shout out to the Kalapuya people and other tribes of the Pacific Northwest. I always want to acknowledge, I also like to acknowledge that at one time, Oregon was known as the white man's paradise and excluded Black folks through legislation such as sundown laws, many which didn't come off the books until relatively recently. So the work that I do in my everyday life, today and every day on Kalapuya land and anywhere else on Turtle Island is in honor of both Native and Black folks who have endured and resisted under white supremacy, settler colonialism, and racial capitalism. And I'm very much indebted to our forebearers and will use my voice and any kind of platform that I have to uplift Native and Black folks and all oppressed peoples of the past, present, and the future. And so with that, I'd like to welcome everyone. And I just want to say I'm really excited to be here. Mado to the Seattle Indian Health Board and specifically Howie, the homie, who has been so supportive of me and the work that I'm doing and the work of so many other Black natives and just Native folks in Indian country. They have been so very flexible and patient with me and my busy schedule. And so I just want to say Motto Howie, and send you some extra love because I know you've been working your butt off producing all of this, and to everyone else at the Seattle Indian Health Board. And so before I get started, I want to give the panelists a chance to introduce themselves and say whatever it is you want to say. Let's start with Paige. How about?
Hatch Slachel Twol Galapu, Paige Pettibon, Seedstat, Salish Chud, Tol Al Chud, Salish Ali. Good day to you folks. My name is Paige. I'm Salish and Black, and I'm from Tacoma. And Tacoma is the traditional lands of the Puyallup people.
Shapi Masma, Anya Anab Chugik, Deante, Anya Anat Akimel O'Odham, Chukchu. Hello, everyone. My name is Deante Moore. I'm a member of the Hailey River Indian community. I am Akimel O'Odham, which means river people. We're also known as Pima. And I'm currently coming from the ancestral homelands of Caddo and Wichita affiliated tribes.
Yay! It's so beautiful to hear your languages and hear you introduce yourself. This is so great. So when Howie asked me to moderate this, of course I was like, yes. I'm getting used to like these. I don't know. Maybe I'm excited about these opportunities to have conversations with Black natives, Afro-Indigenous folks, because I do want to create a space where folks feel seen. And so when I was thinking of the title, I See You came up because it's something that I regularly say to relatives, because I think oftentimes we feel unseen, right? We feel marginalized, even within, our own communities and tribes and all those things. And so, I hearing you speak your languages, it's just so beautiful. And I just want to say I see you, and I'm so glad to be sharing this space with you. And I think that my hope for today was, like I said, I just wanted to humanize your lived experiences as my peers and as my relatives, and use this as a way to not only assert that we exist, but to, again, normalize that Black natives exist in Native communities, all over what is known as the Americas and the Caribbean. So I'm looking forward to learning more about both of you because I feel like I've met you in different capacities. Paige, your art is amazing. I have it all across, every day I'm doing work, the ancestors are kind of looking over me. Deante, I had a chance to meet you, or kind of meet you through another art project that we both were a part of as well. And so I thought, this is a great chance to like actually get to know two people whose art like I value. And so with that, my first question or my first ask is, let's start with Deante. I want you to tell us a little bit about you, like in your words, who are you, and the many ways that you identify, and who are your people?
Yeah. So I am Black and Native. My father is Black, and my mother is Akimel O'Odham and also Black. I never met my grandmother, who was just only Native. She died before I was born. She was born on the reservation in the Hailey River Indian community. She met my grandfather close to the reservation in Arizona. And then when they got married, they moved to Oklahoma, which was where my mother was born. And I was born in also in Oklahoma as well until I moved to Texas, like Austin, Texas. So I pretty much was raised in Austin, Texas, and now I'm currently getting my graduates in clinical mental health. Thank you. So yeah, I'm studying to become a counselor, and I'm currently in Denton right now. I'm the vice president of my student org, Native American Student Association, and I have recently become an ambassador for the American Indian Heritage Day in Texas. And I identify as also like a reconnecting Native, an urban Native. I didn't grow up on the res. I was raised in Texas. It was very urban. I was like the only Native growing up in my school from elementary until I got into college. And my mother always made sure that she gave us like when we were younger, we were involved in an intertribal type of community. So that's where I learned like most of my like values as when I was younger. I really wasn't connected to my actual tribe until I got older, and then started like reaching out to relatives via Facebook, or just pretty much just like do my own research and like reconnecting in that way. And then I got more involved into like the voting rights and like different things that happen on the reservation. And I actually recently got to go for my birthday, July 5th. I got to go out there and meet family that I haven't got to really meet. And it was just a really good time. I'm just reconnecting, learning my language, learning the culture, different songs. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Much of what you said about, growing up, having to, as an adult, as a grown person, walk your way back home, connect with our community, our individual communities, and root our identities in the people that we come from. So I also, when we were kind of putting this together, you were like listing all the things that you were, doing, and I was like, man, I got to get it together. Like, Deante got it. He is doing the work. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing,
Thank
Paige. Can you tell us a little bit about you and all the ways you identify and who your peoples are and all that?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Tacoma, and Tacoma is the Puyallup Checkerboard Reservation. So where I grew up was actually the Puyallup Reservation, but not exactly what some people may typically think of when they think of a reservation because of the checkerboard property lines. It is, I grew up in Browns Point, Dash Point area, which is predominantly white. So growing up, I did not feel very connected with my culture. But I definitely felt, different. And I was sometimes reminded of that through my classmates and even friends. And it wasn't until I got older that I became more involved in my community and started reclaiming language, started reclaiming my art, started reclaiming my life back and my identity and where I fit into my community. And the Puyallup tribe has welcomed me. I'm Salish from the Flathead Reservation. But, I strongly am involved in Coast Salish culture and art and music. And so, I kind of have like a dual or multiple identities because of being place-based. And I also identify as Black, and I identify as an auntie and as an artist, as a mentor to youth and to even adults as well. I've been sober for almost 9 years on November 1st. And that's another, that was this season of my life, I've definitely learned to be patient with myself and growing and expanding my identity and who I am, and being okay with the way that I look and present myself, and understanding how society views me as well. And I just want to say I really appreciate you, Amber, and all the quotes that you post. It just I'm like, yes, you see me, and it really resonates with me, and it gives me permission to be who I am. Because sometimes I notice on social media, it's like, what are we calling ourselves today? Some people don't like being called Afro-Indigenous, but to me, I think it's, I don't think it's a pejorative word, and I am proud of, having the inclusion of both identities. But then again, being a minority within a minority, I don't try to be so wrapped up in my identities as well. I hope that the work that I do shows and transcends, I think, these, confinements that sometimes people may put us into. So, I also identify as an artist and someone who tries to reach people through my art. And I don't try to push an agenda as much as I try to represent the people I feel like I'm a part of. And I try to put out like the most authentic and like best reflection of me and my people. And I I hope it comes off that way too. You know, I hope people see the intention. I try to make stuff that is viewable and accessible for everybody of all ages. And thinking of my legacy, you know, I think about, you know, the images that I have. If they were to last forever, will I be proud of this work? And so I definitely think and edit a lot to put that out there. So yeah, I have multiple identities, and I'm proud. And I also like to think that it's a growing form of myself, and it's not fixed, and that I will always be changing. And I hope I always change, you know, for the better.
Yes, absolutely. First, I had to hold in an ugly, happy cry. So thank you so much for affirming like the work that I do online. Because I think, like you, I'm trying to create a space where we marginalize no Native folks, right? Because I believe in a, authentic Indigenous future where we don't replicate like our oppressors' hierarchies, or even the ways in which we try to enforce compartmentalization of people's identities. And I will say that your work, I feel the same way. I feel like it is so accessible, it's so beautiful, and it does feel really authentic. And you're just really good at what you do. So I just want to say that to you. I feel like both of you sort of already answered my next question with about your identities, but I'm wondering if there were like specific times in your life where you struggled with your identity, and how did you learn to cope, or how did you learn to like celebrate who you were? And has that been a process, or have you felt like you've arrived, or what does that really look like for you, Deante?
Okay, so I had like a big journey with my identity. I guess I originally started with like claiming just like I'm part Native, part this, and then I moved to like, well, at first it was part Indian. I would say Indian, and then I changed to like Native, and then I changed to like I'm Black and Native, and like then it just moved to like I'm Akimel O'Odham, and well, first it was Pima, and then I moved to traditional name, and it was like kept going like bouncing around like I guess just like claiming back everything like that's been colonized of like out of my mind, just trying to decolonize myself. What really helped me though grow the most was being a part of the Native American Student Association at my university. I really found my voice whenever I got involved with that group. I definitely had like I guess that community really helped me feel like it was okay to be like both and not just like having to lessen one because of how people see me.
Yeah.
So basically, I used to think of just like, okay, if there's somebody who's just full Native, I'm gonna give them that space to have their voice more heard. But now I'm like, okay, I'm 100% Native, 100% Black. Like doesn't matter about blood quantum, doesn't matter about like phenotypes, anything like that. Like just claiming all of me. And then I also moved from like trying to reconnect to be closer to my grandmother's family versus just doing it for me. So I kind of have like both of that now, like claiming it for them and also for myself. So I think that a lot of it was like support and like having like peers that are also like growing in their identities, and we all just come together just to share our experiences and just validate each other's feelings and like really just grow with each other. And then like I made like a lot of connections through that, especially with my art. Like I got to do like a lot of different posters, advertisements, and stuff like that. And I entered competitions for like different movements, like MMIW or boarding schools. So that a lot of my art inspiration came out of like those different connections I made, and it also kind of like made me feel comfortable to be able to express myself in that way, like in my artistic expression. So I think that I've grown now that the space I'm in now and learning my language made me more confident. Learning my culture made me more confident and like really like connecting to other people who are from my tribe and other people from their tribes too. So
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I think that one of the things I feel like I hear in what you're saying is like the value of community, right? And not, community even outside of our tribe, right? Like there's this place for like this intertribal community work that helps us all like see ourselves, even those of us who are reconnecting, which I like to remind folks is a valid Indigenous identity, right? Like those of us who are, walking back home, this is the road that we've been put on, right? And I think that there's something powerful about not forfeiting the people we belong to, our lineages and our heritages, simply because we didn't grow up within culture. And we can value our relatives who have and support them, and understand that their experiences might be different than ours. But in reality, we are all still here, right? Like, what was meant to destroy us, like, so many of us are choosing to come home. And I think that that's so valuable. But I really like the point that you made about community, and how other people who are on the same journey like supported you and gave you, like, affirmed that you didn't need to compartmentalize, but like helped you to understand that it's valid to live as equally Black and equally Native. So that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paige.
I really like what Dante said, relationships, our relations with others, I think also really helps us with our confidence and exploring our identities and language to express this. I think going to Evergreen State College and the Native Pathways program really helped me articulate these issues that I had been battling. And my upbringing, I was in a lot of white spaces, and the feelings that I had, I did not have the language to express it. And I think maybe my art was a form for me to express myself. And so my first language was art, I feel like. And then learning Lushootseed, it really helped me express myself even more. And my art has even broadened in my expression. And I feel like learning another language really helps you broaden your mind, it really stretches your mind. And so I've learned Lushootseed, which is the language of the Puyallup people, and then also in the Pacific Northwest region, Puget Sound region. And then I learned a little bit of my Salish language, which I really valued because I saw my maternal grandmother in the language too, and just the way she thought. It really, I could see that the language shaped her upbringing too. And she was multilingual too. She was raised in a house where they spoke Spanish and French and Salish and English. And a lot of that went away when she was moved around. She went to Cushman Hospital and was treated for tuberculosis. And I think that was like the first part of removal, right? And being taken away from land. But she firmly planted her roots in Tacoma and had 10 babies. And there, she married my grandpa, who was a Black man, and they had a solid empire in Tacoma. And so, if anything, it was, my family was my validation. And so whenever I was around my family, it was, I didn't have to explain myself. I didn't have to code switch or anything. It was like, this is where I belong. And I tried to facilitate that within my community with the youth. I worked at Chief Lushai tribal schools for a little bit as a paraeducator. And there's a lot of mixed kids there, mixed tribes, intertribal, Black and Indigenous, Mexican Indigenous, just a lot of, different backgrounds and heritages at the school. And I always felt like art was the way I could communicate with them and express, everyone's welcome here, and you can express yourself in the way that you feel like you need to. And, I just feel like art has been the communication form that really helps me build those relationships with other people, to have them feel seen and validated. I think that it's a really good medicine to try to have others experience. The process can be very difficult sometimes, but I think that it can be really important to go through that process to begin to heal. So yeah, I mean, depending on the spaces that I've been in, it really has made me look at myself differently, right? Some people see me for who I am, and some people see a different image that I may not really feel like I am. So yeah, you know, I try to be in like spaces where I feel comfortable. And I think with COVID, it's been a little bit easier to do that. I've been able to reflect and be able to say, no, I don't want to be there. Like I just don't, this is not for me. I don't, you know, and I learned how to do that through, you know, and so I feel like I'm always growing and changing and being my own advocate, you know. And I have people like Asia Tail. She's really good at how to communicate yourself as an Indigenous creative. And I can ask her questions on how to, you know, like, am I crazy? Am I getting gaslighted here? Like, is this person, this curator, are they perpetuating something that is not me and is false? And is it too late to back out, you know? And she's so good. She's always like asking me the question, well, what do you want out of this? Are you trying to educate them? Do you feel like, you know, you're able to achieve those goals? And depending on your answer, you'll know what you should do. And I'm like, gosh, you're so good. You know, like, and I think having community in all different facets of my life as an artist and as like a sister, as, you know, just someone in all different, you know, facets of my life, I like having people that I can count on to help me and guide me and for me to be there for them as well. So I kind of morph and shift in different settings, and I've been okay with that fluidity as I've gotten older, and knowing that I belong in certain spaces and that, you know, some spaces may just not be for me, and that's okay too.
Absolutely. And I think that I connect with a lot of what you just said, especially those last parts is, you know, community should be a safe space, right? It should be this space where we can be authentically ourselves. And I think over, you know, the pandemic, a lot of us have had to move online, right? And moving online, having to try to like find authentic community, right? And I think that one of the things that I've learned is that, you know, not all skin folks are kinfolk, right? Like that is so true. I understand what that means now. And I think finding people who, like you say, validate who you are, who see you, who give you space to make mistakes, and aren't quick to cancel you, but to affirm you and remind you of who you are. And also, I feel like I found community with folks who don't require martyrdom of me, right? Like, there's so many things that I want to think and talk about and say. But I also realize that I don't have to do this work alone, that I can share the burden with other folks and who I'm in authentic community with. And so I agree with you, you know, online has given, you know, I found folks who I feel like I can be real with, and also learn how to say no, learn how to pass the buck, right? Like, I feel like there has been so much growth in the last, what has it been, 2 years? How long have we been, you know, navigating this? It feels like forever, right? But I agree with you. It's like, I've just learned so much about myself in the last 2 years. Like, the amount of like exponential growth has been amazing, but that has been done in community and actually learning what community means. Because I think that a lot of us have been jaded about, you know, quote, being in community, when we realize like, you know, maybe my politics aren't the same as this person, so maybe I'm not in authentic community with them, right? And so I think that I've had to learn that lesson the hard way online, but it's a lesson that is valuable. And I feel like as I grow in my own like political ideas and also in my identity, I learned who is really safe, right? Who is really, and learn how to spot places that are not safe and people who are not safe. So good word. That's a really good word. And so my next question, I feel like both of you are, again, I feel like you guys give me these really full answers that I'm like, man, are we going to have enough for the whole show? But both of you have already kind of talked about your art. But I'm wondering if there's something that you want people to know about your art. Like, what is there something important about your artwork that you haven't already said, or you can repeat what you've said, and how has that helped you to stay connected to community and culture? I'll let you go, Paige, first this time.
Yeah, so well, right now is Indian Art 2021 Arttober. So I'm doing the hashtag Indian Arttober 2021, and it's been super fun. I feel like, you know, we've started our own little community with those who are doing the daily prompts for October, and it's a small little group, and it's just really nice to see other Indigenous artists, you know, growing and emerging and finding, you know, that they have a community that's ready for them. So I'm always for like welcoming folks, and when they discover my page, it's been such a like, it's so interesting. Like, you know, I make art like since COVID happened. I bought the iPad and I started using Procreate, and then I've just been like in my house making art with my partner around. He's the only one that's like kind of guiding me. And then I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, I'm going to post you and see what happens. And the feedback has been really great. You know, I've gotten some criticism on a few things, but it's very minimal. And like the majority of feedback that I've gotten is that the image that I created resonates with them. And having that connection with people in that way. I know the internet can be such a scary place. It can be really scary because it's like, you know, you're sensitive about your art, you know, like you put a lot into it and you know your intentions. And when you put it out there, somebody might see it differently. So it's always kind of frightening if someone sees that your intentions are something that is so far from what you wanted. But you know, to build those relationships with folks on the internet even and have them lift me up, it just feels really good. And I think those are like the things that like I'm actually seeing right now that helps me with my day to day, because you know, being, you know, I'm still at home a lot. You know, I have, even though I'm vaccinated, there's not a lot of community events. There's a lot of people that are still getting sick, still spreading COVID. It's still not really that safe. So I just try to do my part in, you know, being safe and limit contact. But I feel like this is like a good outlet for me to still have a sense of community, because I was really suffering at the beginning. Like, it comes in waves, you know, but I mean, we were doing a lot of community events, storytelling night with the Puyallup tribe, and, you know, going to jams. And I did a lot of workshops with like, you know, all around the Puget Sound, doing like workshops for art or some type of craft. And, you know, it really shifted quite a bit. And I had a lot of time to just really think about the work that I'm doing and slow down. And it was really interesting that, you know, our communities, you know, our Black folks and our Indigenous folks and our Black and Indigenous folks have learned how to adapt so well to really bad situations. And I feel like I'm, you know, a lot of us are experiencing that. And, you know, moving to online, a lot of people were like, okay, we're, you know, doing language classes online. We're going to have our meetings online. We're going to record ourselves singing songs. Like, we need to have these prayers out into our community, you know, even if it's not that face to face, and it does feel a little bit different. We're adapting, and we're still saying, I see you. We're still saying, you are needed. If you need help, we're here. You're not alone in these feelings. And I think that's really important. And I hope people take that away with my art too, is that you aren't alone, and keep on going, keep on making art. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to look great, but just do it and you'll get better. I truly believe that everyone has their own style within them, and they just have to uncover it. And I feel like for me, you know, if you look at my Instagram feed, it's very prolific. it's eclectic. It's you know, it's not just one style. But I'm okay with that. You know, I'm like, if I want to do what I want to do, I'll do it, you know, and it will feel good. And sometimes it's ugly, and that's okay. I think other people seeing me stumble allows them to stumble too. And you know, I've been really comfortable, like shamelessly just kind of stumbling my way through all of this. Like I don't have the answers, and I feel really comfortable having someone, you know, tell me the right way. And yeah, I hope that my art is something that people feel connected with, even amongst themselves. And I hope I'm a bridge for connections. And you know, I've done a lot with both my art page and my plain to see page, and you know, they're a little bit different, and they kind of feed different parts of me. You know, with the plain to see, making jewelry, I feel like I'm living my grandmother's legacy and creating art and jewelry form, and having those connections with people. It's like amazing. I have like the best customers. Like everyone's so nice, and I'm always getting nervous when I get a direct message, and I'm like, oh no, is their package missing, or you know, something wrong? They hate them, and they're like, I love my earrings. Like they're so beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm like, gosh, they just sent me a message to tell me something good. Like, you know, so I feel really supported. It's not always easy. I would say this week's been really stressful with deadlines. There's that part of being an artist too, is deadlines and contracts and paperwork, and you know, just it's quite a bit, and getting feedback, having people say you need to change this. But so I feel like my Instagrams are both ways for me to just like also be me in a way that like it just feels like I can just express what I want. I don't need someone to tell me what to do. But then also like I'm also a businesswoman where like I have to like I'm contracted and have to like, you know, do the work I'm being told to do. So which is, you know, I think really good in like developing different kinds of relationships, right? Like how to talk to an organization or group or business that's hiring me, and maybe enlightening them, or they're also strengthening me in a type of way. And so I think it's, you know, I think it's good to have different ways for me anyways to make different kinds of artwork. And yeah, so is I like to think of myself as a community artist, and that's probably my through line with all my artwork.
And I think that there's a couple of things that you said. One, I feel like what you said, it makes me realize how much art is a liberatory practice for you, right? Like you're doing these things as a way to refuse like even the criticism and the violence that we can face when we're online, right? You know, when we put things out, depending on who your audience is, you could have thousands of people, you know, misinterpreting what it is you're trying to project. And I think that that's something that, you know, when you do put yourself out, however it is, you have to learn to like expect that and also navigate it, but also not to internalize some of it. So I think it's great that like you found ways to practice liberation, even now when we're all dealing with our stuff. So Deante, I want to say that I feel like your art is like this jewel. Like people need to see it. People need to like. I mean, I know you don't put a lot out all the time, but I feel like your art is magic, and I want other people to know about it. So you know, we have about maybe like 5 or 8 more minutes left, but I would love for you to tell us about your art and why it's important to you and how it keeps you connected to community and culture.
Yeah, art for me has been like a lifetime journey, a lifetime connection. I feel like whenever I'm making art, like all aspects of my being is being put into it, like the medicine wheel, like the emotional, the spiritual, the physical, and emotional, physical, spiritual, mental. All of those things are going into my artwork. And every time I'm like, usually whenever I make an art piece, I always envision it in my head, and I always want to like pray on it and like wait on it before I put it out there. But then whenever I end up doing it, it's always the first thing that comes to my head. And I always get it out. And when I get it out, I'm really like, wow, like I feel connected to this. And if I don't feel connected to it, then I don't put it out there. And another thing is like, it's really big for me to like have like a lot of symbolism in my art. I really like symbolism. I think that kind of came from my native culture side. Like just in my tribe, like we have a lot of symbols with our basket designs. The man of the maze behind me.
Yeah, I was like, I know that's his art. I want him to say that that's his art. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, my art really, I just want to like have people like think about those type of symbolisms, and I like to use colors as well. Colors is really big for me. I like to use different type of sequence of colors because I feel like it's an expression of like colors represent so many different things, emotions, like how you're feeling, just different things. I don't know. I just like a lot of symbolism in my art, and I like for people to like kind of interpret it for them, what it means to them. And I also like to put my description by it so they can understand what my intentions were. So yeah, I like to always have intentions by everything I do. I don't really like to just like put things out there and be like, I don't like abstract art. I like stuff that's like makes sense and like blends together. And I recently just got into like kind of like how Paige with the Procreate. I didn't do digital art all the time until COVID happened, and I kind of just like taught myself. I was working on my phone first, and I got an iPad, and I was like, well, okay, so cool. And then I never really actually identify as an artist until recently, actually. I don't know. I just always said like I love art, like art's my favorite, but I never said like I'm an artist until like I started getting older. Like now, when I'm starting to, and I actually recently did my first like commission last year when I did an art for somebody, because I always was nervous about like how people want me to portray them. So it kind of was weird for me to like share that like also their medicine wheel, my medicine wheel into an art piece. So it means a lot to me to be able to be like to identify as an artist and actually like put my art out for other people as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I so feel that point about like owning a title. I feel like that has been such a journey for me too. I think like on my bio I'll put activist, but it's like that doesn't feel right. Like I feel like the work that I'm doing is about community and about advocating for you know all of Black, all of Black folks, all of Native folks, all of Black and Native folks, and oppressed people in general. But I try to speak to the people who I come from, because I feel like that is the most appropriate. So I understand what you mean about like not sure whether a title fits you, but I will say that your art is really beautiful, and whatever title you use, I just want to like give you like your props for your amazing artwork.
Thank you.
So we have just a couple more minutes, and this last question is really important to me, and I think it holds value. And so I'm wondering for the two of you, like, what does the future hold, and what are your hopes, and what are you envisioning for yourself and Black Native youth? Like, I really always kind of think about like Black Native youth in the work that I do, and I'm wondering if you guys have if you want to speak to that really quickly, maybe a minute each. Deante, let's start with you. What's the future hold?
So I'm in the mental health field, so I really want to like eliminate the stigmas in the mental health for Black communities and Native communities, and I want to serve those populations as well. And I want to also just continue to be like a role model for those who are Black and Native, just so they know that you can do these like role model roles in life, no matter what your intersectionality is, and that you are enough, and you can claim equally both like very strong racial backgrounds.
Absolutely. Paige.
Yeah, so for the future, I hope that a lot of people can, go through a healing process. I think giving attention to our youth is really important for them to feel confident in themselves and to feel seen and heard, and start using having the words and language to describe themselves, to express themselves, and how to walk through the world, leading as an example. And not just the youth, but like everybody. I think we could all use a lot of healing, helping a hand in a way that best fits you too, and not I know a lot of my family members, they kind of take care of others before they take care of themselves. So also recognizing if you need to be taking care of yourself and allowing yourself that time and space for yourself too. So yeah, I hope that with this whole slow down period, we've all can reflect and we can all come together. And, I just really appreciate both of you and in your words too, and just keep up the work that you're doing and know that like it means something to somebody. And most people may not know that, their work is like really what I needed today, right? And so I really, let people know that you appreciate them. And I try to let others know that, like, I see you and you're important to me. So I guess recognition, healing, and keeping the eyes on the youth.
Yes, absolutely. So I just want to say thank you to both of you for sharing this space with me, for agreeing to do this. If this stretched you, thank you for being willing to be stretched. And I just want to say I value you. I value your life, your lived experiences. I'm looking forward to what the future brings. No matter if you do that publicly or privately, I wish liberation and sovereignty and culture and all the good things that you're worthy of, that are your inheritance. And I just want to say I'm grateful to both of you, and I look forward to continuing to be in community with you. And with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can find us all online. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I think are both of you guys on Instagram and Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm not a wordsmith like y'all.
Okay. Well, you guys can find us online. If you need to know more, you can send me a DM on at Melanin Muscogee on Instagram more so than Twitter, and I can direct you to either of these our relatives' page. And let's here's to our future. Here's to Indigenous sovereignty and Black liberation. And Howie, come on back.
Great job. Thank you guys so much. I want to say that Paige, at the end, you said the name of the penny, and I see you, and we had a little party over here. We're like, Holy cow. Thank you guys so much. It was great to listen and hear everything. I appreciate you so much. Hope we get to talk more, and we'll have you back too, but just on a personal level, it'd be nice to chat with you guys. So I'll let you guys go, though. I appreciate you so much. You have a great rest of your evening. Please stick around, you three, and watch the upcoming panel with me and Jana Schmieding talking about Indian TV time. And also, right now, we're going to go to Hailey Tayathy's first music video with music by Tawihisi, and we're just going to go to that right now.
Oh, we love hey. We love hey. We love hey. Oh, hey.
You try to hide us, try to make us all disappear, try to make us act a little bit less queer. But today, I know who I am, and today, I'm not gonna fear, cause we're here, and we're indigiqueer. Yes, I was born to sing and dance, paddle the canoe canoe, take it from here to you. I was born to hunt and romance, being drag queens, doing city things, but above all, we are the people, paddle together now. We are the people, paddle forever how. We have always and forever shall. We are the people, paddle together now. Hey, hey, yo. Oh, hey. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Here's the Quileute, who knows how to make a stand here in tribute. For the land, gonna make us stand, so who needs you? If you ain't gonna be my friend, it's time. 'Cause I was born to sing and dance. Paddle the canoe, take it from here to you. And I was born to hunt and romance, being drag queens, doing city things, but above all, we are the people, paddle together now. We are the people, paddle forever how. We have always and forever shall. We are the people, paddle together now. Hey, hey, yo. Oh, hey. Ooh, ooh, we are the people, paddle together now. We are the people, paddle forever how. We have always and forever shall. We are the people, paddle together now. We are the people, paddle together now. We are the people, paddle forever how. We have always and forever shall. We are the people, paddle together now. Paddle together now. Paddle forever now. Paddle together now.
Holy cow, that's the first time I've seen that video. That was awesome. That's Hailey Tayathy, music by Tahisi, dancer Steffi Styles, and Mackenzie Nusiak. That we'll put that up on YouTube for you guys to look at later. I saw somebody in the chat asking for a link. There is no link yet, but there will be a link. Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you to Michael for editing that video, Michael. That was dope. So what time is it? It's time, y'all. I'm very excited to bring up our next panelist. You know her from Rutherford Falls as Reagan Wells, the receptionist at the Indian Clinic in Res Dogs, and hopefully for her dope weed work, which just sold out, is what I saw on Instagram. Please welcome Jana Schmieding. Hey.
Hey, Howie.
Hey. Hi, Kat.
This is Shazi. Oh my gosh. He cannot help himself but get into the frame whenever I'm doing any kind of zooming.
He's a star.
He's a star.
What's his name again?
Shazi.
Shazi. That's Shazi should come back. People love cats. That's gonna send our numbers to you.
You're gonna get more views.
Oh, we gotta get those views. Somebody post in the chat that there's cats in here, and people are gonna be all about it. Yeah, it's so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you too. How are you? This is such a cool setup.
Thank you. Are you referring to my lovely couch?
Yeah, I'm referring to the couch and the curtain and the lamp. I'm gonna guess IKEA, but maybe something cooler.
It's handcrafted. Made it earlier today. No, I have no idea where it's from, but it's Michael's, and he put his hands right on his hips as if he was angry that you would besmirch his name with IKEA.
I'm so sorry. I knew I was like throwing out a really bad.
Would you find that at a dumpster? Jana, I'm super happy to have you. Thank you for being a part of the festival. I'm going to say I'm a big fan. You're dope.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're really cool. I wanted to start with a really quick question before we get into it. This is the Seattlean Health Board, and we take representation of receptionists very seriously. And you pulled from a deep well. It was a big character. I wanted to see how do you feel that you represented that group of people?
Gosh, I feel like I knew who I was playing. I got a lot of feedback from my receptionist. But mostly positive. I hope that I did my siblings justice.
Exactly.
You gotta have an attitude. You gotta have thick skin to work that job.
Oh yeah, you gotta be like simultaneously the funniest and the thickest skinned person in the entire world. You have to be able to make a good joke, and you know what? I'm not saying that this exists at the health board, but I do like a receptionist with like a little bit of an attitude. Just like I like it.
Who doesn't?
Just like a little bit like hey.
Yes.
You need to calm down.
Efficient.
Yeah.
Unemotional.
Uh-huh.
And at times uncaring and unloving. I don't know if we need that.
Yeah.
But that's what we get.
I mean, we're representing the Native community, and sometimes we're tough love.
Listen, we have to work within the systems that we've been given via colonization.
Exactly. So, well, obviously that's not your biggest role by any means. You are the star of Rutherford Falls, which I've never talked to the star of anything. I just want to put that out there. I've talked to the star of my heart, but
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Until Rutherford Falls, I had never talked with a star either, and so yeah, it was a big life change.
Yeah, how's it feel to be part of the Hollywood elite?
Oh my gosh, I don't think I'm there yet.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I'm not partying with George Clooney yet.
Oh, George.
I'm not even partying with Leo. And some Indians are.
That is upsetting. That's Leo, if you're watching, which he is, come on, you got to have Jana over.
Leo, we're practically neighbors, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
Unless you already purchased property in Oklahoma.
He's just moving to Oklahoma now?
Just straight up Kevin Costner'd it, and now you live out there.
He lives inside of a bear, actually, out there.
He's huddled right up. Got super
right in, wonderful. A lot of headroom. Well, so you mentioned Rutherford Falls is new for you. So how'd you get into TV? I think some people know, but I'd love to hear you say it.
It was quite a long and arduous journey to get even into a writer's room, which was the first sort of step in having this profession. But for many years, I was a public school teacher in New York City, and I was very proud of that job, and I loved it very much. I was a teacher for 10 years, and then I was doing comedy on the side at night, a lot of sketch comedy and solo comedy and improv comedy and a little bit of stand-up, but not a lot. And yeah, I decided that my interests were sort of starting to outweigh my passion about teaching. And I decided to move to Los Angeles, where I could perhaps exercise my skills in narrative comedy, because that's where most jobs are. And yeah, so I moved to Los Angeles, And for about 3 years, absolutely nothing was happening. I created a podcast for myself. I always had like several different comedy projects sort of happening, but I wasn't getting paid. And yeah, I sort of like leaped off of into sort of unemployment in 2018. And for about a year and a half, I was like totally unemployed. I started to become more than I've ever been in my entire adult life. And I was like really, really struggling and about to throw in the towel on the whole idea when I met Sierra Teller Ornelas. She's Navajo and Mexican American, and she's the showrunner of Rutherford Falls. And I interviewed her on my podcast. And when she was in the interview, when we had like closed out our interview, she asked me if I had any writing samples because she has a show coming up called Rutherford Falls, and she's trying to staff Native people. And so I said, why, yes, I do. And that was the beginning of me getting staffed as a writer on the show. And then I didn't really expect to perform at all on the show. I think that there was some conversation at some point in the room where there were some performers on staff, myself and Ty LeClaire and Bobby Wilson. The three of us were like sort of the three writer actors in the room. And so, there was like, oh, we'll throw you in as like a character somewhere, like a small role here or there, which sounded delightful to me. I was very game for anything, any little scraps anybody wanted to throw my way. I was ready to gobble them up. And then the night before I was supposed to audition for the role of Sally, which is the other bully with Wayne in the casino, I also got sent sides for Regan. And I was like, this is a mistake. And it wasn't. It wasn't a mistake. I think that Sierra genuinely wanted me to audition for Regan. And, fortunately for myself, I had been doing a lot of live comedy. I knew how to play to an audience. I knew how to improvise with somebody like Ed Helms. I sort of like wasn't too scared to step into that opportunity. And yeah, that's sort of how it happened.
That's amazing. That's an incredible story. That should be a movie.
It's a real Rex situation. And I will say that like it doesn't usually happen like this, but we are in a unique situation right now in Hollywood where we have upper level producers, writer producers who can employ Native people. Right. So there's going to be a lot of room for Native talent behind and in front of the camera now and come, soon to come. I hope for a very long time. Yeah. I hope ever. But at least projects that I know of, we're kind of having a bit of a boom.
Yeah, it's totally like, I was thinking of it's like totally a renaissance, to steal a European word, it's just like a wonderful, I mean, after having been like all of our characters, 99% of them just getting killed by cowboys or played by Italians, like this is a wonderful situation, which I was actually, so I was wondering, like, especially being new to Hollywood, I guess, as a Native person, has it been what you expected? Like, or what has it been like for you?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really know what to expect. I think it is actually not easier, but like more manageable than I expected it to be, because there are other Native people who are simultaneously experiencing what I'm experiencing. So there was the Met Ball recently, and who is the Native model that was there? Oh gosh, I can't remember.
I'm blanking on her name.
Yeah.
She's from Alaska, which is where
Yes.
I'm from. Oh no.
Oh no.
You can't ask me questions I don't have notes for. This is a problem. What's
Okay,
her name?
so
Wait, Quinna?
Somebody chat in if you
Somebody put in the chat.
her
Help.
name.
Somebody help us.
But she's an amazing, beautiful goddess, and was the only person at the Met Ball. And she tweeted the day after and said, her tweet said something that really resonated with me, which was, "Thank you so much for like shouting me out and uplifting me as the only Native person present at the Met Ball. I felt very alone, but I was honored to be here." You know, I'm
Yeah.
totally paraphrasing, but
Quanah chasing horse, by the way.
what?
Quanah chasing horse, by the way.
Quanah.
Yeah.
I know that feeling of being, I understand what that feels like, to feel very alone. And I haven't had a ton of those moments, but there have been those moments where you kind of look around and you're like, great, I'm the only Native in the room. But at least on set and in the writer's room, in my experiences so far, both of my professional experiences on sets have been, I've been surrounded by Native people.
Yeah.
And so it feels very loving and very welcoming. It's actually almost a very strange experience to be in predominantly white spaces, which I have had very few of, because also all of this has happened during COVID-19. So not a ton of my experiences have been like I haven't, I don't know. I just like haven't been out and about, you know, none of my press, all of it took place on Zoom, all the press for the show. And so it's not like I've been out like walking red carpets or anything. I'm you know, and that's why I feel like I'm not really, it's not like I'm like, extreme fame has,
well, you're definitely going to be like, you're Native famous forever now. That is a fact, and like that's a big deal, because
that's a huge deal to me. I mean, I am like I'm baffled and delighted and overjoyed by it all. Truly.
I mean, we're baffled and overjoyed by you. We're like, hey, where you been? This is the best. Why were you not on TV before?
Well, exactly. And then pretty soon they'll be like, Howie Echo-Hawk, where have they been? Like, that's how it's going to be for all of us.
Yeah, I mean,
the industry is now open to us, is the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about how it is, what a crazy experience it is to end up in predominantly Native writer room and or like acting space. Is just like, that has not happened with it, and now it's your only experience. It's amazing.
It's so great. It does feel like we are genuinely carving space out for ourselves. And honestly, that work comes from having leadership in the industry, having Native leadership in the industry. They know who they want to hire. They know that the talent exists. They've been working with this talent for years. You know, it's just a matter of pulling people up. And now, you know, the next wave will be, you know, me and the people I'm looking at my sides will have our shows, and we will pull more up, you know, so like the family tree only gets broader at the base, and it'll be like that. And I veer away from using the term Renaissance only because I was using it, and Ava DuVernay, who I got to interview, told me she wants to eliminate that term Renaissance from the lexicon of Black TV and film. She says it implies that we're having a moment, and that our moment will at one point fade. And she argues that like we should have a permanent place in this industry. We are American culture. Like we should have every network should have a Native show, if not many.
Exactly. I'll say one that don't really know much about the Renaissance. I just is a word that it's a word that I liked. But
The old-timey Renaissance, I either. All I know is that before it happened, people were very, very sick and just living in filth.
yeah, they have an interesting history, I would say. But no, I think that's a really great point by Ava DuVernay, which is, I mean, of course, there's a great point by Ava DuVernay, because there, I feel like you were saying, there's this myth that there is not enough POC, but it's, in our case, Native actors or writers and stuff. When we know that, like, we're hilarious and good at drama and storytelling and all the acting, all of it, but I mean, they had to hire Italians before, apparently. Like, there was not enough of natives, which is just insanity.
Yeah, I think that, like, ultimately what happens, it's like a sort of a laziness and and a resistance to sort of confronting the actual real stories that we would tell, because they challenge sort of the white heteropatriarchy of our contemporary culture. So
say it 2 times.
Yeah, it's like a natural to expect that, white men at the top of this industry wouldn't want to bring that challenge into their field, because it not only requires them to do more work, that's uncomfortable for them, but it will require a shift in the industry eventually. I hope.
Well, and the thing is that they're finding out now, and they would have found this out forever ago, that people just like good content. Yeah. And that's it. That's the whole story. It's like people like good content, and we have tons of it.
And now that we're like, I think that the great part about at least the 2 shows, Rutherford and Res Dogs, that have come out, is that they're both really good and they're thoughtful. And so, not only does it show that we have many styles and genres like within our storytelling, but we are great at storytelling, and this is going to make networks a lot of money.
And I mean, and for me, it's like, on a personal level, I could care less about the network. I want my good show. I want to watch Jana Schmieding and I want to have 18 seasons of something, like Grey's Anatomy. Where's my native Grey's Anatomy?
I know we need a native Grey's Anatomy. I mean, we can go through literally every show. I want a native X-Files.
Oh my gosh! There's a lot there. Little people.
Yeah. I mean,
Dear Lady, obviously.
Dear Lady, Sasquatch.
Oh my gosh!
Literally, we could just rattle.
And then it's like Scooby-Doo, though, and then every time, like, it's actually just white people screwing with us, and we're like, no, stop it.
Foiled again.
So yeah, I mean, what has it been like to be able to tell natives, be a part of like this movement of telling native stories unapologetically?
It's very liberating. I think it's like, it feels like working with family, really. It feels like being able to bring your whole self to a creative project, which is something that I've never shied away from. But I will say, in like the comedy spaces that I existed in New York, I was sort of like the only native person around, and not that made me scared, especially because I'm, white presenting. It's not that I felt extremely oppressed in the comedy circles, but at least I had a lot of hesitation about telling native stories. It didn't feel like the right audience. And something that I've talked to other playwrights and writers about is sort of the way in which our audience's cultural literacy is not is behind where we are. And so the challenge in the writers' rooms, at least for Rutherford, is to not feel preachy about what you're writing and to not feel like you're educating people, to make it funny, but also to make it relatable. And Sierra was very diligent about telling us, pitch jokes and make sure that the language is right, even if it goes over non-native people's heads. Like, oh well, like we're writing for us, and they'll catch up. They will learn. They'll use context clues in the same way that we've had to use context clues to watch other, to watch international film and TV. It's like we all get Squid Game. We're binging it. It's a totally different culture than what we're used to, but like the themes resonate. And so, we understand that like people can learn. We're speaking to our viewers' highest intelligence by presenting them with new quality material that we can only hope they will want to seek out more of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to really trust your audience, and you have to treat your audience with with dignity, in the same way that you treat your own characters with dignity.
Yeah. So just really quick, I want to address the chat. For all of you folks in there, I'm going to keep an eye out. So if you have any questions for Jana, I'm just going to keep an eye and try and bring any up that you have. The health board actually would like to tell you that they're a little jealous that people got your Halloween earrings before they did.
So sorry, I feel bad. There were only 6 pairs.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's cutthroat out there, like you said.
It is.
And the health board is also here for Native Grey's Anatomy, which I guess we could just film it on location, I suppose. Everybody's watching.
I don't know if the health board is interested in hosting an entire
I'm sure it's fine.
Crew.
Yeah, I'm sure it's totally okay.
It's fine, right?
It's totally fine. It's not like that.
200 people sort of just around, lighting rigs and sound.
Yeah. Like sectioning off whole parts of the clinic and making people wait for a really long time.
We would take up all the space. So
honestly, if I went to the clinic and there was something being filmed, I would enjoy sitting and just watching and like being that native person, just like watching.
I am such a nerd. Listen, when I was when I went to Oklahoma to shoot that one scene for Res Dogs, I stuck around for the rest of the day because I got to watch, my friends directing and show running and, performing. It was like, I got front row seats to a Zahn McClarnon performance. Like,
that's dope.
Who has that? It's crazy. I mean, and I get to work with like Michael Grace and Ed Helms. Like I'm learning from true champs. It's wild.
And that's I'm glad you brought up Michael Gray Eyes and stuff, because like again, like with this whole idea that there wasn't talented enough like native artists or actors and stuff or writers, like Michael Gray Eyes, are you kidding me? Like that scene. I mean, spoilers, I guess. For these shows, but if you're watching this, you should have seen them already. You should have been watching. You should have been watching them right now. If you're not watching them concurrently, actually, that's a problem. But that's that Michael Gray Eyes scene where he, what's your love interest, the white NPR guy, Josh, like where he like just dresses him down. That was one of the most intense things I've ever watched.
Yeah,
I loved it.
He is a looming figure, Michael Gray Eyes, on screen. You wouldn't know it, though, off screen. He's such an uncle. He has nothing but dad jokes off screen. He is a proud father of 2 young women who are, like, amazing young women, of course, but, like, just geeking out about his daughter's accomplishments at all times, like, truly such a lovely man. And then I mean, I'm not sure if anyone has seen the movie Wild Indian, which is written and directed by Lyle Corbin Jr. And it was at Sundance this last year, but Michael plays the lead in that movie too, and he's like he's like a mean killer. It's a dark movie, and he nails it. It's crazy to see how the range that Michael has.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. Wild Indian, I actually haven't heard that one somehow.
Yeah, it's very indie, and you know, I think it's on where can you get it? Maybe you can get it on Amazon. I'm not really sure where you can get it right now, but it's great.
Awesome. So yeah, let's talk about some of your other Native cast members that you got to work with, and the folks over at Res Dogs. Like,
yes, dish.
Yes, let's get into this. Who is like? No, never mind. I was gonna. Who's your least favorite?
Lane Factor, who plays Cheese, is an absolute monster. Okay.
Yes, finally we get the truth. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not a Bobby Wilson's fine. That's what I'm gonna say. He's fine.
Bobby Wilson, fine. He's fine. Bobby.
No Jana Schmieding. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. There's like nothing but joy and laughter every time we are all hanging out.
Yeah. Anything super notable? Any notable memories that you guys had creating this together?
Oh my God, there's so many. There are so many parts, you know, especially in Rutherford Falls, because we had you know, Casey Camp, who plays the woman in the gift shop, and she comes up to Regan and says, "I'm so proud of you," and has this little emotional moment at the cultural center. Casey Camp is like a very famous, I mean, she's been in a lot of Native film, and is also well known as a water protector and a land protector. And so she's just like, to be in her presence, you know, even off stage when we had like, we're sitting in holding, which is kind of like where you sit when you're not on set. You sort of just like chilling out backstage, and we were all in holding, and Casey was back there. We were talking, and she was talking about a recent protest that she had attended, and it happened to be at a moment when there was like sort of a scene switchover was about to happen, which means the cast members from this next scene are coming into holding, and people from the former scene are about to go on and shoot their last scene, and then they'll leave. So there was like a kind of a handful of like white folks who had small parts. I think it was like the lawyers, when they were like, after our scene, they were going to shoot the scene where a bunch of lawyers are going head to head with Terry and his lawyers. And so there were a bunch of white actors, and Casey Camp starts teaching them about like essentially breaking down like the issue with pipelines and man camps, and you know, the MMIW Two-Spirit issue, and just like lays it out for these people, like just taking them to school. You know, it was crazy. And I'm just thinking, like, this is like wild that I am in the presence of like this shit is happening. You know, also we had Geraldine Keems, who has been on TV and, you know, in movies, and has been on stage in plays for many, many years. And she's, you know, her and Michael and I sort of felt like three generations of Native actors sitting in and holding together. You know, we have like a grandma and a dad and a daughter, and like all of us are talking, like sharing stories. I'm listening to her talk about what it was like early days in Hollywood, you know, what it's been like doing theater, and like this sort of the trials and tribulations that she went through as a Native performer. you know, on sets and in movies. And to think of how far we've come even in 3 generations, where now we, you know, are stars of our own shows, is just like, these are like moments that I'll never forget. And they're like so meaningful in a macro way that was really blowing my mind. And it still does, you know, like
Yeah.
of course it's like that though, you know, it's like, of course this like Native show is so meaningful off camera, as meaningful off camera as it is on camera, you know.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. What about going over to Res Dogs? I mean, it was just for the one day, but like to be there with even these younger folks and like that's must have been amazing.
yeah, it was awesome. It was so, I mean, Res Dogs was totally different because you're on location in Oklahoma, so you're like, you know, I got to stay in Tulsa. It's the first time I've been in Tulsa.
Woohoo!
Yeah, it was cool. It was really
my Pawnee side. We're down there, really close to Tulsa.
yeah, it was like very, very cool. And like and everybody was Native on that crew.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
had like a Native makeup person, and I was chatting with her, and she was telling me about how she used to work in Hollywood, but she retired and now she's out here. And she was saying this is the first show that she's worked on that was like a all Native casting crew. And so yeah, it's just like, I mean, to be able to like sit in that receptionist chair and like look out at even at like the background actors who are like patients in the clinic, and see that they're all Indians.
Yeah.
Like that was totally, I mean, I can't even like describe the feeling because I've never had it before. It's like it was just a kind of an amazing experience that I'll just never forget.
Wow. Was there a Native best boy? I don't know what the best boy is, but I always see that at the end of credits of things, and I'm like, I want to be a best boy. I don't know what it is. I don't. It's always on the credits. There's best boy. It's a best boy.
I don't know what the best boy does, but I bet that the best boy was Native.
Yes.
What is the best boy? I'm just gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, look up with the Native. And to the people watching at home, please do put in some questions in the chat. I'm trying to.
Okay, here we go.
What is it?
In a film crew, there are 2 kinds of best boy. There's best boy electric and best boy grip, and they're assistants to their department heads.
Wow. So they're the Dwight Schrute of. So, speaking of Native office.
Oh my gosh! I
mean, I know that we could come up with original ideas, but I did, and now let's do what American films do to foreign films and recast them entirely as Native, and
I actually think that like if we were to do like an IHS show, it would be more The Office than it would be Grey's.
100%. Yeah, no, it would definitely be way The Office.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fantastic. So do you have like, so I'm sure that all these folks that these Native folks that haven't seen, I mean, there are lots of like classic Native movies and TV shows that have been out for a while, you know, like, but we haven't had anything this big in a long time. And I'm sure there are tons of people, both young and old, who are now like, oh, this is a possibility for me. Like I could start to tell my own stories and start to do these things. Do you have like some advice for those folks or anything or any words of wisdom?
Oh gosh, yes.
Move across the country and
no, I think thanks to you know, Sterling and the way that he's sort of like doing, it's hard because Sterling was able to cast out of Oklahoma and, you know, work completely out of Oklahoma, but he has literally years and years of like relationships built between Hollywood and his, you know, his homelands essentially. So there's like it's really hard to, I want to say like, just set up shop wherever you are and do it, you know, but that's just not realistic. Like that's
Right.
unfortunately like the way that I started was by working on my own craft and doing my own thing and learning how to write for myself. And learning how to write different things, you know, and I also dedicated myself to like practicing a lot of different forms of media, you know, like I started officially like doing high school musicals and like truly like just doing plays and stuff in high school. I learned stagecraft. In college I studied theater and I learned like lighting, I learned sound, I learned you know, I learned as much as I could about you know, theater arts. And after college I got more specific and I studied comedy and but all of my theater practice came in, it was really like helpful in doing comedy, doing live comedy. I learned how to like read an audience. I learned what jokes hit for me as opposed to another person. And I learned really how to write for myself and how to tell my own stories in a funny way. And I continue to teach myself sort of new things. I didn't really do a lot of stand-up until I moved to Los Angeles. That was like a new skill. I taught myself how to do podcasting when I moved to Los Angeles, you know, which is another way to tell your story. There's like so many different ways now to like sort of learn and get good at something. So yeah, I don't know. I think that like learning what you love about the work, whatever it is that you want to do, then like go hard for it.
Yeah.
Even if it's like makeup design or you know, makeup, hair, sound, you know, there's so many different avenues that you can take in this industry. That's the other thing. Like this industry isn't just writing and acting. Also, like we need people who are really good at like lighting or knowing camera lenses, you know, like there's everything. There's work for electrical people. I mean, there's 2 different kinds of best boys, for the love of
2 types of best boy. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's my advice, is just like figure out what you like to do and practice it and get really good at it, and the path will show itself.
Nice. I aspire to be the best boy. I'm gonna get there.
I think you're gonna nail it. I think
I am. I think I'm gonna nail it. So I have a couple questions from the audience. Michelle Bullcoming says, "Do you get nervous on camera?"
No, but but that's only because I have a lot of practice doing it. I get excited to be on camera.
Dang. Nice.
I'm thrilled by it. I have also trained myself to like the feeling of stage fright though. So it's hard. Like I like the rush of like being nervous to perform and then doing it. Like I know it makes me better.
You've embraced the fear. You walked right into the fire.
Yes.
Nice. So Patricia Snyder says, "Do you aspire to direct or produce?"
Yes.
And I want to tag this into one of I had a question about, so like, what are your dreams for like the Native Hollywood community?
Well, I just hope that we flourish and that there's a lot, you know, that we take up as much space as we can. I aspire to direct, but directing for TV is not the same as it is for film. But I am currently writing for myself to perform in a feature-length film that I will hope to also produce someday. But yeah, like I hope to work in this industry for a long time, and I want to try all of the different things out in terms of like acting, writing, directing, producing In
Best
TV.
boy.
specifically. Yeah.
Best boy. Yeah.
Best boy.
Best boy.
Yes, of course.
That's awesome. I really, whatever that is, I can't wait for your feature film. That's gonna be. I can already tell. I love it.
I hope so. Oh God, I'm terrified about talking about it because I'm like, what if it's bad, you guys? Seriously, what if it's bad?
Hey, again, the Native community is never letting go of you. It'll be fine. We just won't talk about it.
Just only talk to your family members. If it's bad, just only tell certain people.
Oh, and it will defend it to any other community. Be like, no, that's the best movie that's ever been made. That was the greatest film of all time. Okay?
Exactly.
You don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't watch it.
No, I've never seen it. In fact, I heard it's bad, but we will.
Yeah. A couple more questions here. Do you see yourself advocating for Native youth entering into the industry?
Absolutely. That is definitely one of my goals and missions being here is to, eventually get to a place where I can start either an org or a foundation that supports young people who are interested in entering careers in the performing arts and who want to learn how to work in this industry. I think that there's a huge opportunity for Native people, Native students, or young people to be able to transition from, whatever, if they're in school or what have you, to transition into, to make this big career move, because it is a big career move and that transition needs a lot of support. So, it's something that I'm thinking about and mulling over. And yeah, and of course, the responsibility that I carry with me right now in my career is, I want to take as many hits as I can so that it's a little bit easier for the next wave of talent to come through, like do any corrections that I need to do because I can handle it and I don't mind. Any educating that I need to do to make the next wave of talent, it's a little smoother that way.
Yeah, thank you. We have another one. Who I like this question a lot. Who inspires you? I'm assuming they mean like probably Native folks, but I guess anybody. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? I'm very inspired by my showrunner, Sierra. I learn a lot from her all the time. I'm inspired by Sterling and his work as well. I'm inspired by Michael, who I get to watch, and all of the women that have come before me. I draw a lot of inspiration as a woman of color in comedy specifically. And I've said this a lot, I draw a lot of inspiration from other women of color at my sides. I look to my left and I look to my right and I see the people who are at my level. I think that's something that we possibly have to face, is that there's not a lot of role models for us to look toward. I look at the women in my own family, and I see the barriers that they've broken down for me to have this position, and the amazing things that they've accomplished in their lives, and I follow in their footsteps. And but in terms of career ambition and inspiration, I really look to my cohort for that, and I find it.
Yeah. So we're getting close to the end of time. So if you have any other questions out there in the audience, please do put one in, and I'll try and get to it. Jana, there's we got to find the better word than Renaissance. I'm never gonna disagree with Ava DuVernay. I just won't do it.
I know I won't either, and that's the only reason I said that. But like
Yeah, people telling me I don't want to be in
I
disagreement.
know. I'm the same. I've sometimes used the word moment, but even that kind of is sort of Renaissance-y, but like, yeah, I just end up saying like this time that we're having.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's just like, it seems like a lot of the pieces have fallen into place to where we can tell the stories the way we want on the platforms we want, and we're going to keep it forever, probably.
Yes.
But you know, like there's these amazing shows like Molly of Denali, which is like a PBS show for kids. Princess is one of my friends and one of the head people over there, and Spirit Rangers. There's some new and I mean, even like a lot of cool indie films, like what Rhymes for Young Ghouls, is that? I can't remember.
Rhymes for Young Ghouls and Blood Quantum are both oh gosh. I'm so bad with names after a certain time period in the day.
It's
Canadian native man who is a filmmaker made those. But yeah, there's tons of stuff out there, and more to come. There's more even like right now in development and in production.
Yeah, and so I was going to say though, so we have this moment, this time, this opportunity, but are there any old native films that that you wish either had like more shine, more people could know about, any like classic skin flicks, or like something, or one that you wish that you could like redo and like be in, or anything like that?
Oh my gosh.
I'm a big Dream Keeper fan.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I love that movie.
I recently rewatched Powwow Highway.
Oh yeah, classic.
And I would say that like I want to do that, but I think they're making another Powwow Highway.
No.
Not a movie, but a show. I don't know. I may have spoken too soon.
Powwow Freeway?
I'm supposed to say anything about that.
Oh no. It's fine. It's fine.
But like I feel like, you know, like I'm even behind the curve, you know, like I think of something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to do like something like that, and it's like already snatched up.
Yeah,
it's already snatched up if you already love it. So
that's great, because I would love to see Powwow Highway to the streets. That's yeah. So somebody had a question. This is probably the last one from the audience. Do you miss podcasting, and which ones do you listen to these days?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm really into spooky podcasts right now. I'm listening to Spooked, a spooky podcast. I'm listening to, what is the other, Radio Rental, I think, is another spooky podcast. And there's a third spooky podcast that my good friend Marcy Jarrow co-hosts. And it's a funny and spooky podcast called A Funny Feeling. I highly recommend everybody listen to that. I've been a guest on that, and so has Ty LeClaire, another native writer, on Rutherford Falls. And so I listen to like that podcast. I listen to a couple news podcasts every day. And will I get back into it? I hope eventually. My first podcast is called Woman of Size, and it has 2 seasons. You're welcome to go listen to it. It's about body justice and fat acceptance and is sort of about it's an interview-based podcast where I interview different people of size, as I have coined, and talk about our experiences, you know, within sort of the intersectional experience that fat phobia has positioned us within. And I'd like that, but it's very serious content, and I would love to just do a podcast that's like, It's the Sex and the City podcast. I could, because I might like break it down very cerebrally. I don't know. But yeah, I would love to do another podcast that I don't have to produce, because something that I both loved and then eventually got sick of with podcasting is that I did all of my own self-produced work, which means I was the one editing it. I scheduled the interviews, I edited it, I did all the research for it, and posted it, and it's just a lot of work. So I don't really have the time yet, but when I do, you're gonna love that Sex and the City podcast.
You heard it here first. A completely original idea, a Sex and the City podcast.
Well, I'm positive there's only 150,000 other podcasts.
Yeah, and none of them have gained an incredible amount of popularity yet, I'm sure. So you're really tapping into a new market.
I know.
So before we go, I wanted to put you on the spot. And I wanted to say, as a fellow stand-up comedian, I would love to hear any of your jokes.
Oh my God.
I know, this is a nightmare. I know, this is a nightmare. There's nobody, and you can't hear anybody. It's the absolute worst situation, but I would like to hear one of your jokes. Please, Jana.
Oh God. I haven't even done stand-up for so long.
It's going to be great.
Dude, I don't even know. This is so hard for me.
I'm so sorry. I'm a nightmare person. I'm so sorry.
You little jerk.
You don't have to. It's okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me just see. Let me see if I have any.
Pulling it up. Jana is pulling it up.
Oh my God. I went to a stand-up show the other night, and the person was like, all right, what joke do I do next? Okay.
That's not how you do comedy.
Okay. For several minutes, I was watching this person scroll through their fucking notes. Sorry.
It's
sorry. Sorry, Seattle. And here I am. I made fun of that person so bad, and now
this is the best. I'm so sorry that I did this, but I just really wanted to hear. And now I feel like it's like I'm hearing in your head. I wish we could have had the technology to overlay you talking about your possible movie and be like, what if it's bad? What if it's not good? What if it's really bad?
Oh my God. You know what? This is embarrassing.
It's fine.
I'm not gonna do it, because
okay, don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
You're not gonna do it, and that is the joke. Thank you so much, Jana, for being on. You're the best. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a joy and a pleasure.
Yes, people are loving you. Everybody can follow you if they're not already doing that. I'm sure that, but it's just Jana Schmieding, right?
On the social, yeah. It's this old America Online AIM handle. Spelling, it's Jana Unplugged, but you can find me. Just type in Jana.
You'll find Jana online in an AOL chat room or a Yahoo chess match, something like that. Thank you so much, Jana. I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you. I can't wait to talk to you more in the future. Can't wait for your future movie, and also our Scooby-Doo / Office kind of spin-off about the health board. I'm really excited about that.
Oh gosh, get ready, health board. You don't know what's coming to you. You really actually don't. It's 200.
Thanks, Jana.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Before we go, I need to thank our sponsors. So I'm going to do that real quick. Thank you so much to AmeriGroup, Arcora, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Chief Seattle Club, Community Health Plan of Washington, Friends of Waterfront Seattle, Kaiser Permanente, Molina Healthcare, Pyramid Communications, Sea Alaska, Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, Seattle Center Foundation, the Seattle Foundation, and the Washington Association for Community Health. Thank you all to all of our sponsors for sponsoring this year. Thank you so much to the Seattle Center Festal for for also sponsoring us and helping us out this year. We are so excited to do this in person, hopefully again next year. Please come back tomorrow at 4 p.m. We have, well, where's my schedule? My schedule should be right in front of me. I made the schedule. Tomorrow we have at 4 p.m. Boarding School Survivors, Healing, Hope, and Justice. That's hosted by Abigail Echo-Hawk, my sister, with panelists Fred John Jr. and Bill Hall, who are boarding school survivors. Please come at 4 to tune into that really important discussion about boarding schools and how we have to heal and find hope and justice and listen to the survivors that have went through the boarding schools. And then at 5 p.m. we have a replay for last year's performance. Thank you all so much. Thank you to all the panelists for coming today. You guys are all amazing. Thank you to Michael for producing in the back. Thank you to Alyssa and Francesca and everybody at the health board. I will see you tomorrow. Actually, you won't see me. I lied. Or you might. I don't know. Come in and find out. Come and find out. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Schmieding.